Welcome to Between Two Pastries, a not-so-typical nutrition podcast. Nicole and Annie are licensed and registered dietitians. Join them as they discuss hot nutrition topics, challenge popular beliefs, and have a blast doing it. Here are your hosts, Nicole and Annie.
Welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
We're going to have a continued conversation around the intuitive eating and intentional eating based off of our previous pod, which I think we got some really interesting feedback from people around, which is good. So it's like, people are thinking about this stuff too, which is awesome.
I'm just thinking, as we talk about intentions around food, it made me think about, I was meeting with some athletes last night and talking about the, female athlete triad or REDS essentially. And without everyone raising their hand in the air for me to see, a good majority of them are without a period. But the question continued to be, how many calories should I be eating a day for this amount of miles? And if those miles increase, then what's my calories? And I kept saying the same thing over and over again about, basically, the how to eat with sports nutrition and blah, 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 blah. And there's not numbers that tied to miles. And again, we, as we talk about intuition, like, last week and our book, Fueling on Purpose, this barrier, this brick wall up for, 99% of people who just cannot break away from those numbers. And their intention to eat is just simply numbers.
Yep.
There's no enjoyment. There's no fueling purposefully. Mm-mm. There's no intuition. It is simply, here are the numbers. This is what I do. And I keep doing that every single day. And it was really discouraging. Really, really discouraging.
Well, it is discouraging.
And this is part of my own frustration. People, and I shouldn't even say this, people like this ruin sports nutrition. Mm-hmm. They tarnish what we do, mm-hmm. and they tarnish the sport.
Yeah.
Because what happens is people without movement or nutrition concerns start to adapt these behaviors. Mm-hmm. And this cycle continues, and they continue. Oh, you're so healthy. Oh, you're so strong. You're so dedicated. You're so this and that, and all the things that they are not. And I think the closest example that I can think of that I think a lot of our listeners might be able to relate to is, obviously in the athletic world, for whatever reason, people can't stand taking one single lousy rest day.
Oh, 100%.
Okay? See it all the time.
But that's part of the issue. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I challenge them. Okay. What are you going to do when you get injured? Well, I just won't get injured. You will, because you're not taking rest days, right?
Well,
so
it's ridiculous to even
when that injury
think.
comes, or you have surgery, or you're sick, you get COVID, whatever, and you can't run or do your activities, bike, swim, whatever it is.
Right.
For more than, at all, for a 2-week period, got 3 days off of these.
I know.
It's hard for people. Let's say it's 2 weeks. I tell them, you need to be able to never do your sport again. And if I tell you that, hey, you're never doing your sport again, what can you do? They are besides themselves.
Yes, of course.
To find joy.
Course. But that's the thing, though, when you're not connected to self and when you're unable to experience certain things at particular levels, it's very challenging then. It's just very challenging because you operate on this place of you need an external hit.
People challenge me then. Well, what would you do? I mean, you're a runner. Well, I enjoy dancing. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy painting. I enjoy different types of music, whether it be listening or creating. I enjoy all of these. Like, I have other hobbies. I just you just don't see them because that's not the platform that I'm, putting
currently,
out into the
exactly.
That's like not in the universe right now. But there are things that I do behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. And yes, if absolutely, whether it be injury, or I generally take a month off after a race, or winter time, I like to take time off. I do all of those other things.
Right.
That's the sign of a proper training, but also a healthy athlete.
Yes.
You got to be able to take off.
Yes. Yes.
And the other argument I've heard is, and this might be touchy a little bit, but I'm in the mood to go there. This argument, so many runners, triathletes, cyclists, whatever, are previous addicts, right? So whether it be alcohol, drug, whatever.
Absolutely.
But generally, maybe eating disordered recovered. There's a huge study that came out. There's a tie to mental illness and ultra athletes.
It makes sense because of the different hormone that's being, jacked up. That's why they call it the runner's high. I mean, it's evident.
Duh. So exactly. So I've listened to people tell me, well, I'm 1 year sober, 10 years sober, whatever. I'm so many years sober, and without running, I'm not sure I would be. And it's a better addiction than alcohol or drug of choice. And I'm like,
and
time
still
out.
A chemical imbalance.
It's still an addiction that you just admitted that you're in. Time out. If you can't back away from running, that's the same as alcohol.
Yeah, completely.
Maybe, but it's healthier. And that's the argument, is running or sport movement is healthier in excess.
No. So here's the deal. That's what brings us to our complete.
Here we go.
Yeah, no. Right. But that's what ties in our whole topic today is intention. So if my intention is to be an addict, but I choose to do it by putting on a pair of running shoes, right?
I put on the Band-Aid. I put on the cloak.
The intention is still, I do this to numb, to avoid, to experience. Right, exactly. Whatever that might be. And people may argue around that, but when you really look at the bottom line of that, that is essentially still what it is. Sure. I think the thing though is that especially when people are so married to their watches and apps.
Oh, well, yeah, it's ridiculous.
The intention there is typically not, this brings me so much joy to be so ball and chained to this app. Like, that's what I'm saying. Now we're missing the joy. That's what I'm talking about, the intentional piece here. So when the intention is to close all of the rings in your watch, when the intention is to, make that, this is what we're talking about today, is that alone is creating not great health, period. Nicole, and that coincides as well with the intention of how you choose your food.
Correct.
So many people eat things because they think they have to, because it's quote unquote considered healthy, when all food can be healthy. We talk about this all the time. All food is with balance. However, when your intention is, I am, choosing to experience this meal, however you want to look at it, in a place of joy, in a place of gratitude, in a place of, I'm just going to be here right now, right? I'm not in my head around this meal. I'm not anywhere else. I'm literally right here, right now, enjoying, eating slowly, connected to my body, knowing when I need to stop and when I've had enough. Doesn't matter what that meal is, you will, I could guarantee this, you will have longevity.
Oh, yeah.
This is the whole point.
Much
of the
longer
whole
than
thing.
all the garbage the watch is going to tell you, or
that's
the
right,
apps.
Because that's still a level of stress, and you're also not in the moment. You're still in some outcome that hasn't happened yet, that you still have to get to. And it's the same with eating. People think that there's magic food out there. There is no magic freaking food out there.
No.
The magic is in your interpretation and how you connect with it and your body, and you work with that. That's the whole thing there. There is no pure, perfect anything. There's no pure. That's another thing.
No.
So individuals who desire to be well think they have to engage on this pure, like everything has to be raw or has to be
Right.
organic or has to be all of these things because I'm so dirty inside, because
Right.
I have to clean myself up. You don't.
No, nothing's dirty,
Your
actually.
mind needs a little attention, but
Correct.
besides that, like that's just how that is.
Right.
So there is, just because I feel like it's super valuable. I spoke with Annie about this. I was reading a book about an individual who suffered this incredibly horrific bout of a very rare form of cancer, and it basically pulled herself out of it. I'm not saying, I mean, she had a lot of help. What I'm saying is that she went through this entire dare we use the term journey again, but she went through this whole process over many years, to be honest. Basically, it died and came back, so to speak, and learned so much from this entire experience. Anyway, she goes all over the world now and speaks. She's written a ton of books around this whole thing. But the thing that I loved about it when I was reading this book for other reasons is in the back of one of the books there's Q&A from like the conferences that she would do, and so in the book she printed out some of the questions that she would get, and this one just blew me away because of the fact that she's just a layperson. She doesn't have a degree in anything, or any anything nutritionally related, psychology related, nothing related to anything health wise, right? She's just this individual. And in her story she talks about how she would spend months doing a particular diet and blah, 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 because this is what's going to cure cancer and because all of these things. And in it talked about how she did it because she loved her body and hated the entire experience at the same time. So she came through at the other end, and I just absolutely love this. So one of the questions was, but what's some practical advice about how you eat now? How do you keep yourself healthy, and what do you eat and what do you avoid in your diet? That was the question from the individual, and I just absolutely loved her answer. So she says, my diet has changed actually since that experience, but she's like, it's not what you think. She goes, I used to be paranoid about what I eat. I was a strict vegetarian. I consumed only organic things. I was into my macrobiotics, vitamins, supplements, wheatgrass, everything, she said. Before, and she said, I thought that all of this would, cause cancer. I would avoid everything that supposedly caused cancer, microwaves, preservatives. So she says, now I eat whatever I'm drawn to. I enjoy chocolate and a good wine or champagne. I just make sure that I have a good time with food and life. Thank you. I think that it's more important to be happy than anything else. This is what she has learned from her entire experience as she stands cancer free. It's no fun eating all the so-called right foods. Again, layperson, not in the diet industry at all. It's no fun eating all so-called right foods out of fear of getting sick and being miserable about it. Being anxious causes a whole other set of problems. 100% hallelujah, check and check.
Yeah.
Our bodies are actually a lot more resilient than we give them credit for. Hell to the yeah, they are, sister.
Totally.
Particularly if we're happy and not under stress, right?
Right.
Even when I choose to eat healthfully, I do so out of love instead of fear. I do so because I want to, because this feels right to me at the moment. That's my method in every aspect of my life. And I invite you to live the same way. I absolutely was just like, thank you. This is a layperson who gets it. This is a layperson who not only gets it, but lived it as well.
Super gets it.
Because she went through all of the pieces and then realized it's not about that at all. She realized I was this tremendously miserable person And therefore, I'm not saying because of that she experienced cancer. This is not what I'm
No,
saying.
no.
What I'm saying though is I was miserable in all of the areas and then, came out of it, whatever. Anyway, I absolutely loved that quote. I thought it was worth it because I can't tell people enough. It's not about your food.
It's not.
Yes. Do we need balance? Do we require nutrition? We do. But the thing is that when we are present with ourselves,
Correct.
we are drawn to what we need as well
Right.
as what we want. And that's what I'm trying to get
But
at.
Nicole, my weight goes up when I do that.
Oh my gosh. And you know what happens? It also goes down again
Woo!
because it regulates where it wants to be, where it functions the best, where it says,
Yep.
I love living my life right here because all my cells can
Correct.
do all the things they need to do, and we aren't stressed. We aren't compromised. This system isn't compromised because we don't have enough over here because you want to be at 12% body fat. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
I do. I wonder though if some people have lived so miserably, they don't know that that's miserable.
oh no, I agree with you because it
How do
becomes
you
their
get people
way
to
of
realize
being.
that?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
How do you get people
exactly.
to realize that?
Well, but again, that also is like, self-awareness. And then you'll have some of the people who are just super resistant to it too. I mean, I ran into a client who just decided like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't give up my rigidity. Like this is just what I need, you know? But that's as far as she wanted to go. She was not
Really?
interested in looking at why she wasn't interested in going,
Well, I think that's
this
most
drives me
people.
crazy. I hate my life, but I'm also not willing to look at it that way.
Right. It's more important that other people see me as thin or good or healthy, even though I feel terrible about myself.
Correct.
That's
But
ultimately what people are saying.
yeah,
When they choose not to deal with that rigidity as it relates to food, health, and movement,
sure.
they just then it's more about external appearances at that point. At least in my experience with clients, that's really what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client recently. I love her to death, and I worked with her in the past in treatment, and then I also, just now with outpatient. She struggles on many levels, but she recently decided to go, and I was a little actually kind of nervous about it. She decided to go cold turkey with tracking. And I was a little nervous because I didn't want her weight. I can't afford to have her weight drop.
Yeah. I understand that piece.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. No, I get that. Yes.
So I let her, because I trust her ability with measuring. So I know things are accurate, but she didn't. And she's like, I've had so much more space in my head.
Aw, exactly.
And I realized like, I really love my lunch.
Oh, I like that.
It's a weird lunch, but she loves it.
Yeah, but it's
Loves
almost
it.
like she had the opportunity to actually recognize that.
Right. She still hates eating food in many situations, and she
Sure,
doesn't
the
like her
social
snacks.
aspect.
Yeah, she doesn't like her snacks and certain things. And she also was able to admit she hates oatmeal. Things like that. Like she's finding, and I attribute some of that to freeing your mind of all of those numbers that people track and all of the things that they think about. Because when you free your mind of that, all of a sudden you start to have like the clouds open up a little bit with,
yes,
oh, this does taste good. You allow just like
exactly.
a little sliver of ability
Yep.
to find joy in what you're eating, or to get out of that, just a smidge out of the miserable state.
Yes, agreed.
And I think that taking some of those leaps, although challenging to break up the rigidity and the
Correct.
control, boy, just even a little bit of it makes a huge difference.
It does make a huge
because
difference.
when you keep one foot in the door,
Yeah,
no matter how
agreed.
you slice it,
Agreed.
I mean, I
agree.
don't, it's not that it's not all or nothing, but it's kind of all or nothing.
Yeah.
You got to be
Agreed.
all for it, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard, but I do think it would be good if listeners were to grab a notebook and to write
Mm-hmm.
down their intentions.
Yes.
What is your intention with your watch?
That's right.
What is your intention with whatever snacks or meals or foods or products? What is your intention,
In even taking intention then steps into what's your belief around these
Correct.
things as well,
Beliefs,
but again,
rules.
And those are the things that we talk a lot about in our book as well
Correct.
as well as with the program that we offer too.
Right.
But even just now, as we end our pod and as you have those variations of living
right
rolling around, as Annie just stated, definitely think about what your intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
How much joy certain things actually give you or don't give you, and how you can find more of it. The thing is that it's so interesting how people will almost choose anger, choose disappointment, choose these negative pieces, and to put their energy there versus just finding the joy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Finding the joy. Like, it's so easy to fall into these other things, but where is the joy? The joy may not be in these things, but where is it then that you can get yourself out of? You know what I'm saying?
I do. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe one way to, as an example, that I'm thinking of, I think about people who choose to be, to follow whatever kind of diet. You could even throw vegetarian in there, for example. And, do you really like veggie burgers, or are you just mechanically eating them? Like, what is your intention to buy the product, to eat the way that you do?
Right.
And if you can ask yourself that question and answer it with to lose weight, to do this, whatever.
Right.
That's not intuition. That's not genuine. That's not that's not health to your body at the end of the day. So just throwing that out there as well. Not that, it should bring you some awareness when you start to ask yourself these questions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right.
That ultimately, I assume, is what our book would help with, is to bring that awareness.
Right.
Plus a little bit more.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Have questions you want to hear discussed on the show? Find us on Facebook or visit betweentwopastries.com and drop us a line. Want to support the show? Find us on Patreon for exclusive content. If you love the show, find us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review.